And we'll begin. I just started the recording, but it's just my screen. Um, we'll begin today just lying down on our backs in a comfortable position. And that can involve using a prop. I think I'm going to use my bolster today underneath my knees. You could use a blanket underneath the head, maybe. Actually, I'm going to do that too. So that sounds nice. Just sort of fold it up like a little pillow. And letting that nape of the neck, back of the skull be supported, and having my knees supported really just brings this like ease into the body. If you want to just plant your soles of the feet on the earth and let the knees knock in towards each other, also a really nice option. Simple. And if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, try closing your eyes. Notice where your hands want to rest, and if they want to rest on the body, that can be nice. It feels good to feel the breath rising and falling. If you want the hands to fall open, if that feels more grounding to you, make the choice that feels right for you. And just feel the breath in the body. And trying to really gain in our practice this awareness of the body as a whole. So not, my finger is not the same as my arm, but it is part of my arm, or like your arm is different than your leg. And we're not just moving these parts of the body around in space. And we're not just moving the body or the breath or trying to get in touch with our mind. We're trying to bring everything into unification, into connection. So starting here with the breath, just trying to feel it really expand and fill your entire body. The tips of the fingers, the tips of the toes are infused with breath, the crown of the head. And as you exhale, feel every part of the breath retreating away from the extremities towards the center. And feel that physically happening naturally, the navel pulls to the spine. And we'll just spend like a minute here in silence. Playing with our breath and awareness, seeing if we can expand it. If your mind wanders from the breath, just gently bring it back. For your last several breaths in this position, just really feel the attention joined with the breath. So it moves out to the edge of the body. And when the breath is full, it starts to turn in, and we're traveling with each moment, not getting stuck in the past or the present, future, just moving smoothly. In the time of your own breath. Take another inhale. And on your exhale, just softly blink the eyes open without losing your attention to the breath. Just changing one thing. Take a couple breaths here, adjusting to the addition of this sensory experience of sight. Noticing where you feel it in the body. If maybe you lose attention, just bring it back and let's slowly start to move the rest of the body. Fingers and the toes. And the wrists and the ankles. Moving them in circles, just feeling the action of the joints of these small bones and the fingers and the toes too. It's really appreciating the articulation that's possible. And then slowly moving it up the body, maybe stretching the arms overhead. Pointing and flexing the toes to really find this optimum, maximum stretch through the spine. Thinking about those parts of the spine that could feel really compressed and seeing if you could just let your attention and your breath go into the lower back and into the cervical spine to lengthen out between each vertebra, to spread between the ribs, all those little muscles holding the core together. And again, using your own breath as guide, eventually rolling off to one side and coming up to a seated position. We'll spend some time moving through some postures here. So a bolster would be nice to sit on, or a blanket. And I'm going to find Sukhasana today. So that simply means easeful pose, easeful seat. And I'm crossing my shins kind of midway, so my heels and my feet kind of prop up my knees. And if you need some more assistance in bringing the ground closer to you for your knees to have something to rest on, that's where blocks can come in handy. You can put them underneath the knees. Just finding that long, tall spine again, finding the connection to the breath running through the entire body. Unifying the entire body, and with every breath having a more subtle experience of this position. Notice what position the head goes to. Maybe just kind of roll the head from side to side, letting the ears come to their respective shoulders. So right ear to right shoulder. And then exhale, let the head move, rolling across the chest, left ear coming to left shoulder. Syncing any movement with the breath. Letting the chin rest down towards the chest on your next exhale. Feel the shoulders roll onto the back. Hands can come to the knees, so you can really just have something to press down into with your hands. Finding the contact of the hands against the knees being like a unifying element. Any points of contact, make them active. So the hips on this ground or your seat, let the tailbone drop down. The hips get heavier. The hands on the knees. get heavier, shoulders drop down, get heavier. And then the inhales fill the body, making space around the structure. And with each breath, just feeling yourself get a little bit bigger, take up a little bit more space. Breath taking up more space, more time, more attention. Inhale, sweep the arms up, keep the eyes closed, and let the arms stop where you feel like you are getting this maximum stretch without compromising the ease of the body. So again, if the shoulders are hiking up towards the ears, let them drop down the back and stay heavy. That might mean your arms need to come out a little wider. And notice if any part of the spine is taking on more tension, more compression, and just envision the breath traveling up and let it make space as it travels up, creating this equanimity in the body. Taking a few breaths to just allow your awareness to dwell in the body. One more inhale here. And then exhale, turn to the right, letting the right hand come down behind you, the left hand come down towards the left. And again, keeping the eyes closed, so we've removed this attachment to image of what we can see, what we perceive ourselves looking like, and we're just having the experience of the pose, allowing the breath to guide us through that. So feel, again, where you need to make space in the body, where you need to find ease in the body, where you need to make connection with the earth or with the body. Maybe turning the head back, so if you did open your eyes, the gaze would be out over your back shoulder, will feel good. Inhale. And on your exhale, just let the eyes open softly. Couple more breaths here. And on an inhale, turn the head back towards the front. And exhale, just let yourself return to a seated position, hands on the knees. Taking a couple breaths and seeing if you can more readily tap into this feeling of unified breath, body, and mind in this central position. And then inhaling, lifting the arms up, closing the eyes, finding the position from feeling rather than from remembrance or impression. Or mimicking what you see me doing. And then exhale, turn to the left hand coming generally behind you, right hand coming generally towards the left. Taking the breaths to open into the pose, to feel into the pose, to unify. You can decide when you're ready to softly open the eyes. And abide in this posture for another several cycles of breath. Maybe just starting to notice through these small experiments with our perspective, just how much of your practice can be ego driven. How it may be nice to just take away the image, take away expectations, have a different experience. Use an inhale to turn the gaze forward, and then an exhale, turn the body forward. And let's extend our legs out long in front of us. And again, this might be somewhere where it's nice to have blocks or a pillow underneath the knees. I'm going to use blocks. What I'd like to find is a really easeful forward fold. And again, it's like I have my legs a little bit wider than my hips because I know that's going to be nice and make some space for me to sort of drape forward and nestle down. And having the knees lifted just brings the ground a little closer to you and make the posture a little bit more easeful and allow us to really target bringing the space into those parts of the spine that don't often get space. So use your exhale once you've got yourself set up to fold in, and let yourself just be supported by whatever array of props you've set up. Feel free to switch it up if you're finding that something isn't quite right for you. Just shift around it. And find the breath again, creating the space in the body, bringing together all the parts of the body, the mind, senses, while retreating inward here. And notice how this may not be a pose where you actually want this total surrender. You might find that, keeping your hands active against the ground to roll the shoulders down the back may bring you a more easy flow of breath, but that's really, again, just something that depends on what you need in your practice today. So take it as a suggestion, take it as an option, not an instruction per se. See if you can release the muscles of the face and let the face get soft. Letting go of any expression. Letting the mask fall. Few more breaths here. Let every breath really be an exploration of the entire form for these last moments in the posture. See if you can feel your whole body as you breathe. And then slowly walk your hands back in. Let's set any props off to the side. And I'm going to bring a blanket underneath my knees and come to tabletop. If you have blocks, put them towards the front of your mat. But we'll be leaving the bolster off to the side for the next 15 minutes or so. Just setting it up. It's nice to have a padding for your knees. And finding a tabletop position. Again, this position of structure, like the seat. We're trying to find evenness through both sides of the body, evenness through the spine. In this position, we're already really feel the core, just as we did in the seated position. It's supporting this evenness through the body. Look down at your hands, make sure that the wrists are aligned with the shoulders, the fingers are spread wide. I like to have my pointer fingers kind of parallel to each other, pointing directly to that skinny edge of the mat. Pressing down into the finger pads, feel the palm of the hand actually kind of active and lifting up. So the arms get strong, the muscles plug in towards the bones. The elbow pits just gently turn forwards. There's a slight bend there, so the arms are again active. Tops of the feet press down. Feeling the knees on the mat, feeling the legs engaged and steady. The core is turned on. As you inhale, can you feel the breath in the whole body? And as you exhale, feel the breath in the whole body. Inhale, find a cow pose, just letting the breath emanate from the belly button, opening to the edges of the movement of the breath, and then exhale, turning it into a cat pose, lifting the navel to spine as you arch the spine, rounding. Pressing down into the hands, pressing down into the tops of the feet. Inhale, opening. Exhale, rounding. Flow with the breath. And you can experiment again with keeping the eyes closed here, or you can, if you can just really keep a steady, even trajectory of the gaze, not letting the gaze guide the movement, but letting it follow the breath. The next time you reach an end of any part of the breath, so whether you're in cow or in cat, just take a breath in, take your next breath there, holding the posture, and then we're just reversing it. So maybe the exhales are letting the chest open forward for cat, and the inhales bring you into cat. And notice if you kind of want to auto-correct back to what you think is the normal breath pattern, and just keep your attention harnessed there. Noticing how the experience has changed. Through this weird little trick, this one weird trick. Finish your cycle of breath and then just come back to that tabletop position. See if you've had any more ease here. If it's easier to find that equanimity through the body, find some breath in this particular position.
On an exhale, sit the hips back towards the heels. And I lied, I do want to use my bolster. We're gonna come into a forward fold, a child's pose from here. And I'd like to use my bolster underneath my hips today because I'm looking for some more relief through my lower back. Again, never mandatory, just using what you have around to bring yourself into more steadiness and ease. And draping forward, letting the forehead come to the ground. You could use a block under the forehead if that keeps a little bit more neutrality in your neck. Softening. And allowing the breath to really spread through the body in its entirety. Few more breaths here. And then slowly ease your way out of that child's pose. Set your bolster off to the side. Hands will come back to the tabletop position. Extend your right leg back, pressing the ball mound of the foot down into the ground, just stretching through the back of the leg. You can kind of lean forward and backwards a few times just to really feel the energizing through the back of the leg, the sensations in the back of the leg. And then on an inhale, lift the toes up off the ground, keeping them pointing down towards the earth. So you're feeling the core engage here, and notice how your balance has had to shift. Be really aware of like the intricacies of that. So you probably shifted more weight over on one side or the other than when you had your leg down, and just try to balance that out, pressing down equally into both hands, engaging your connection with the top of that left foot. Breathing into it for another couple breaths. Notice if the head wants to crank the gaze forward. Let the back of the neck be released and relaxed and even. And then on an exhale, just step your right foot forward, coming to a lizard lunge. So the foot comes outside of your right hand. I'm bringing my blocks on their tallest setting inside of my right thigh, scooting back my left knee. And I'm beginning with my palms just on the blocks, pressing down, rolling the shoulders back, opening the heart, feeling the hips sink down, but feeling this underlying structure. So those points of contact on the earth are active. The hands are actively pushing down. The feet are actively pushing down. The space is steady. You might come down onto your forearms, bringing them down to the blocks. If you can keep steadiness, keep space, keep the attention on the breath, and keep that awareness running through the entire body, the entire being. You came down to your forearms, just come back up onto your palms. Take an inhale in your lunge. And then exhale, shift the hips back, finding a half split, peeling those right toes up towards the sky. You can walk the blocks back, come back down to the forearms, finding a long spine, finding the open heart, finding the space for the breath to access the whole body. Just another couple breaths. Then pressing the palms down into the blocks. I'm just going to bring my right knee back in line with the left knee. And tucking the toes under. And again, this might be somewhere where your bolster comes in handy in between the hips and the thighs, or a block can go there. Make sure your pinky toes are tucked under. So the weight is really spread through the entire ball mound of the foot, and you get this nice stretch through the entire underside of your foot, the sole of the foot opening, breathing, let the spine find its natural alignment and length. Let the breath run through the whole body. Maintaining an awareness of that central point of the belly button, expanding and contracting. Releasing it as you're ready. You can set that bolster off to the side, tap the tops of the feet against the earth. And then walking the blocks forward again, coming back to our tabletop position. Pressing the left ball mound back so the back of the leg is extended. Just feeling that opening through the back of the left leg. And then using an inhale to lift the leg up, feeling the engagement, feeling the balance in the body shift, and trying to bring it back to this equally supported place. And focusing the breath here. Now. And exhale, step your left foot outside of the left hand, preparing for our lizard lunge. Bringing the blocks inside the left foot. Setting up the legs so you're finding that good base where you can really feel the support of the earth. The feet plugging down into the earth, the front heel pressing into the earth and pushing back the left hip a little bit. And the top of the right foot is pressing down, and you can feel that opening into the front of the right hip. Press down into the hands against the block, rolling the shoulders back. Notice if you are lifting the gaze up or cranking the head down, and find that neutral spine, equal length between every vertebra along the way. Maybe adjusting the posture as we stay and breathe. couple more breaths in this position. And then when you're ready, you know that we'll use an exhale to shift the hips back, straightening that left leg, pointing the left toes to the sky. Walk the blocks back with you. Not losing that connection of the points of the body that are on the earth. So your heel is still on the earth, engaged with the earth, pressing down into the earth. Feel the leg engaging up through there, keeping a little micro bend in that left knee to protect the knee and really target the stretch into the muscles, the hamstrings, even into the calves a little. When you're ready, pressing the hands into the blocks, bringing your left knee back to meet the right. And I'm going to take my blocks back, so now they're going to be in line with my ankles. And I might use them or I might not, but we're going to just do a little bit of heart opening here, bringing the hands to the lower back. Feel the elbows hugging in towards each other and the shoulders rolling back, the heart lifting. Press down into the tops of the feet. Feel the muscles of the legs turn on, the core turn on, the inner thighs rotate in towards each other. And feel the breaths originating from that navel point. So on your inhale, feel the space growing into the heart. And exhale, settle into that space, but keeping the strength, reconnecting with the strength. Maybe your hands release to those blocks. Maybe you're just working with opening, imagining the opening into the heart space with the breath. Noticing if you're doing something out of ego rather than out of it actually serving you. And make adjustments there. One more inhale and exhale here. And then inhale, lifting up to a tall spine. And exhale, we'll sit back into a virasana. I'm going to use my block, one block, maybe two blocks. I like two blocks sometimes, so we'll see. We'll start there, stacked on top of each other. Just feeling the body settle into alignment, settle into this equanimity. Noticing if something isn't serving you, I'm going to take my bolster in lieu of my second block. I want something nice and soft for my hips to be able to release into. Balancing the awareness in the moment. then let's just do there'll be like really simple actual movements. We're just gonna be moving our gaze. But notice how difficult it can be to hold our focus. So finding just a soft point directly out in front of you to look at, like you're looking at the horizon. And focusing there. And then on an inhale, just gradually turn the head to the right. Letting the gaze along with the head, but not letting the gaze advance the motion. Exhale when you reach your furthest rightward gaze. And then inhale back to center, tracking the gaze. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, slide the head over towards the left, turning the gaze with the breath. Find an inhale to turn back to center. Exhaling when you arrive. Inhale, turn the head to the right. Exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale and center. Inhale, turning to the left. Exhale, hold. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Inhale right. Exhale. Inhale center. Exhale. Inhale left. Exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hold, and stay here in the center for a couple breaths. Reconnecting to that navel point, feeling the breath connected to that. Inhale. On an exhale, drop the chin down to the chest. Letting the gaze come along for the ride. On an inhale, feel the breath originating from the center and then expanding the heart up, lifting the gaze. Exhale, feeling the center retract as the gaze comes back down, the chin comes back in towards the chest. Inhale, opening. Exhale, bowing back in towards the chest. Being very gentle and subtle with the range of motion, not pushing, just finding those edges where the movement is still really soft. We're able to feel the sensations along the way instead of pushing really hard into the end, the beginning of things being so sensational. Keep the gaze steady. And then on your next inhale, bring the gaze back to center. Bring your finger, it doesn't really matter which arm, just bring a finger out in front of you and focus as far as you can away from you. Focus your gaze on the fingertip. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly bring the finger in towards the body, stopping when you lose the focus of the eyes and the end of the breath. Inhale, the gaze tracks the finger as it moves outward. Exhale, bringing it back in. Continue on with your own breath. Inhale, let the finger come back out. Exhale, keep the focus where it is and just let the hand fall back down to the lap. From here, we're going to come back onto our backs. Back to Shavasana. Was that? Making your way down, making yourself comfortable. Using your props as you like. Resting. And this returning exactly to where we began, where we're just observing the breath in the body at rest. We move through all these different postures and different points of focus. And all those postures and points of focus are just sort of like conceptual tools that we can feel in our bodies that help us kind of understand that there's this huge, infinite, subtle landscape within each and every one of us, and that we're all part of this even more infinite oneness. So in this practice where we practice asana, we are kind of exploring these different ranges and these different concepts and letting all the different things that we discover through that really settle into the body and create this more unified whole that's full of so many more relationships than we were previously aware of. It's important at the end of the practice that we give ourselves plenty of time to really let it all integrate. So for the next few minutes, we'll say nothing. We'll let you know when it's time for us to move together to end the practice. you choose to just remain here resting, I could not blame you. If you're ready to close the practice, move on into your next thing. Take a deep breath and feel the consciousness of that breath in the whole body. And then feel the small movements that come into the fingers and toes, the wrists and the ankles. Just feel how movement and life and breath spreads through the body. And slowly, in your own way, in your own time, serving as little of your steadiness and ease as you can manage. Come up to your seated position. Keeping the eyes closed, letting your hands just rest on your lap or come to heart center if that's feels good. I think it feels good to press the palms of the hands together, especially those fingertips. Just feel everything coming into the center, everything coming into equality and unity. And I'm going to take an Om to close the practice. Recommended. It feels really good to feel that sound in your body. So exhale completely. And inhale. Holding that resonance of the self, hopefully more united than when you arrived. Giving thanks for these moments of practice, observance, awareness. Namaste.
Thank you, Julia.